Atomfall released in March of 2025 for the PlayStation and Xbox consoles, along with PC through Steam. It was a day one release on Game Pass, which is where I checked it out. Developed by Rebellion Developments, it retails for $60 on the Xbox and PlayStation stores. Before we get to the review, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, is Atomfall worth playing? This review is going to answer that question.
Windscale, the pride of Britain. Nestled in the picturesque Lake District, the state-of-the-art atom plant has transformed this rugged landscape into the envy of its northern neighbors. Scientific progress waits for no one.
Atomfall isn't worth the price. For $60, I just can't recommend it, not for the amount of content and the state of the game. As a Game Pass game, it's worth checking out if you already have a subscription, but I wouldn't go out and get a month just for Atomfall. Like all my reviews, we'll start with the technicals of Atomfall. The game runs pretty good on console, although there isn't a performance or quality mode to choose from, meaning you're going to be stuck with what the game gives you. It's usually 60 FPS, and the landscapes and character models are pretty detailed, but there's no options to mess around with it on console to tailor the game the way you want. But there weren't any crashes during my playthrough, and the bugs and glitches were minimal. The same can't be said about the enemy AI. They are completely brain dead, and there's nothing in the difficulty settings to change that. They follow set routes, they approach you at a run to attack you, or just stand and shoot without getting into any cover. The AI is very easy to trick by standing behind an object so they can't get to you, or climbing up a ladder and hitting down at them. But conversely, they are so observant that stealth is useless in Atomfall. Enemies spot you from any distance and hit you with perfect aim. They're also instantly hostile, and I could never figure out if that was a deliberate design choice of the devs or just a bug. Like, there's a few factions in Atomfall, but there was nothing I could do to make them like me. Everyone you meet in the world attacks you, and if you try to sneak past them, they spot you instantly and attack if you're too close. It means that you should just kill everyone in the world, or just run past them. It's really up to you.
Well, should I shoot him, Sarge?
You should not. Do they look like an outlaw to you?
Graphically, the game looks fine, but the art direction is a little odd. It feels like it used a lot of stock assets, and a few things were wedged into the game that feel out of place. Like the feral ghouls are just this bright blue that don't really match everything else in the world. The terrain is also very frustrating. Most open world games let you walk up hills or jump on rocks, but Atomfall doesn't let you do that. You slide down terrain or just stop before you can walk up a gentle slope. The character models are reused over and over again, meaning there are like 3 outlaw models, 3 soldier models, a couple druids, and a single type of ghoul. The game looks and feels dated, especially when combined with all the loading screens. The maps are relatively small, and every dungeon or bunker that you enter requires loading into them. The most interesting piece of art is the nuclear power plant in the distance, but it's just really a skybox. Atomfall isn't a bad looking game, it's just not very diverse or creative.
Mr. Chubby, all right. For the moment at least. It's more important that you listen to me. I don't know who you are, but I could trust you more than I can trust myself. Please listen, while my thoughts are still my own. You're trapped in the quarantine zone around the Windscale atom plant. That's where it all went wrong.
Let's move on to the story. There isn't really any. It's as bare bones as you can get in order to set up a game, and that's it. The story is you wake up in a bunker with no idea who or where you are. A scientist in a radiation suit shows up, he's hurt, and says he needs your help. He's bleeding, and he says he doesn't have much time. You can heal him or accidentally punch him in the head and kill him, which is exactly what I did. You get a card from his body and you're released into the world. The next narrative piece comes from a red phone booth. These are littered throughout the world, and they give you directions on what to do next. Basically, it tells you that something needs to die, and you need to look for a place called the Interchange. You need to find clues in the world from dead bodies and notes to find it, after which you realize it's a bunker that's out of power. The rest of the game is finding these nuclear batteries to restart the bunker. The game is basically a sandbox for exploration with a tiny bit of story that gives you an excuse to look at places for items. Collect all the batteries and you win the game.
Dale's busy with outlaws, so watch yourself if you go that way. Oh, and there's a fenced-off way goes into the soldiers' territory. Sgether Moor, that is.
Alright, time to talk about the gameplay. You've probably seen on this video's thumbnail that I compare Atomfall to a Temu version of Fallout or a stalker game bought off Alibaba. It's the best way I can describe it. It's like a worse version of those games that wants to attract players who are fans of those games, but doesn't offer anything really interesting or better than those alternatives. Let's break down the gameplay into its various parts, starting with combat. Combat in Atomfall is bad. I already talked about the brain-dead AI, but there is more problems with combat than just the enemies. There's an extreme ammo limitation. Guns reload very slowly, and most guns use a single bullet at a time and won't kill an enemy unless you headshot them. The game is designed for you to not go looking for a fight, since more enemies come in groups, but when stealth is useless, you're forced to fight. I was never, and I mean ever never, able to sneak into somewhere I needed to go without being spotted. Not once. So you need to fight, but the guns are nearly useless and ammo is very scarce. So you fight hand to hand. First person hand-to-hand fighting is clunky at the best of times, and Atomfall doesn't do a good job of it. You have your standard swing and your heavy attack, with each weapon having different attack speeds and damage amounts. But there isn't a block button. Instead, the left trigger throws the weapon in your hand to do a large amount of damage. But throwing is hard to aim and pull off, and enemies close to you pretty quickly. The worst thing you can do in a fight in this game is toss your weapon. With no block button, you just take damage while you and your enemy just swing at each other, hoping to stagger them. Rather than a stamina bar, there is a heart rate monitor. The more actions you do, the more you run, the more your heart rate goes up and your vision starts to turn black. It's an interesting mechanic, but it's absolutely useless in combat. Then there is the inventory system itself. You can quick slot 4 items, and if you need more, you can open up the menu. But the game doesn't pause when you do that. So if you run out of ammo or throw away your melee weapon, you need to open up the menu and get hit the entire time to equip a new one. If you're running low on health, in Fallout, you can eat like 10 wheels of cheese. In this game, too bad. The game doesn't let you pause to open up your inventory. You need to quick slot those healing items. But they don't stack, meaning each medkit is a separate item in your inventory, and if you use a medkit and need another one, you basically just die. There's crafting in the game, but you need to find recipes out in the world. By the time you find those recipes, you'll have most of the game beaten already, and you won't need to make anything. Or you just won't have the inventory space to create it and hold it anyway. It's an absolute mess. The game wants you to collect everything because of its scarcity mechanics, but it doesn't give you enough room to hold on to anything. So you need to pick and choose. The final component is the exploration. The game gives you the opportunity to select automatic waypoints at the start, or you can play as the game intends, which is finding clues and reading the map. I actually did like that, but the problem is there isn't a way to fast travel, and some of the destinations are quite far away from each other and filled with enemies that respawn. So if you need to collect a battery and bring it back to the interchange, expect a long walk. Enemies spawn out of nowhere in the open world, meaning if you cleared an area beforehand, people will come back. Killing enemies means using your limited amount of healing items and weapon ammo for nothing in return. You don't get any XP in this game. Atomfall is partially an RPG, but the level system is odd. There's no real levels or attributes or anything like that. Instead, there are skills you can train using items you pick up in the world. For example, say you want to be able to disarm traps. You need 3 or 4 of these rare training stims you find in the world to train in that skill, but the skills themselves provide very little bonuses. Most of the traps you disarm just give you strings. The other skills let you toss your weapons further or give you a damage buff when you kill someone. But these skills are all insanely expensive. I only found a half dozen of these training stims in the first half of my playthrough, and some of these skills cost 15 points or more. It's absolutely crazy. By the time you find enough of these stims to train the skills you want, you'll have beaten the game. Let's move on to the enemies. I already spoke about the human enemies and how they come in groups and can spot you instantly despite using stealth, but there are also blue feral ghouls and possessed humans with blue eyes. These things are crazy strong, and you will waste most of your ammo trying to kill them. Look, if you have a game with a severe ammo scarcity, then you can't make guns a requirement to beat the game. I'm fine with bashing someone to death with a cricket bat, but you have to give me a way to fight these things. I need to be able to block, I need to dodge, I need to be able to heal in combat. Otherwise, combat just becomes a frustrating mess where I run past things to get to the objective, which is how I ended up beating the game. Alright, what are the pros and cons of Atomfall? For the pros, the game does have an interesting concept, and I like that you can do whatever you want in its world. You can kill all the NPCs you find. There are a lot of places to see and explore with valuable loot inside it, and the game has a good atmosphere. For the cons, the stealth system is completely broken, making it useless. The inventory system and its UI doesn't mesh well with its focus on combat since stealth doesn't work now. Ammo rarity makes melee the only viable option, but the close range combat doesn't feel very good. There's no block button, and you're going to get swamped by enemies a lot of the time. And that's it for another review. To answer the question, is Atomfall worth playing? No. In my opinion, it's not. There are a few things here that some people may find interesting, but overall, the game just feels unfinished. I would only recommend you get it through Game Pass or when it's on a very steep discount. I'm the Casual Console Gamer, and I'll see you all in the next review.